I just came by to stir your soul up a bit. Put on your seatbelt. Get ready. This ride could have some turbulence.
Hey you guys, this is The Next Up, an actor's journey to success, and I am your host, Tabitha McNeil. Today's a special guest. We have Chinwe, the amazing filmmaker from Love Bites. So Chinwe, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Chinwe. I'm an Austin-based filmmaker, writer, director, editor here in Austin. I am a Nigerian-born. Oh my God, can I start over again?
No, you're good.
I was like, wait, I'm repeating the same word.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay, so hi, I'm Chinwe. I'm a filmmaker based in Austin, Texas. I'm a writer, director, editor. And I went to school here in Austin, St. Edward's University. And I didn't go to film school, but I graduated with a business school. And there I started a student-run TV station called Topper TV. And right after college, I just went on to direct my short films. And currently Love Bites, my third short film. And so I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. So I got some questions for you. When did you kind of start your journey as a director?
I've always knew I want to be in the film industry. So when I immigrated from Nigeria in 1997, my first movie was Titanic. And I just fell in love with whatever Leo DiCaprio was doing. I was very engrossed and captivated by just his presence. And I know when I tell people that, they're like, oh, because he thought he was hot. I was like, no, I was not at all attracted to Leo DiCaprio. But it was something like he exudes some kind of like an aura about him on camera that I just wanted to be him, physically be him. And so I learned more about what an actor does. So I thought that was my path. But I think towards, before going to college, I learned that actors really don't call the shots, as the director and writer. So, and I like a little more creative control. So I was like, all right, well, I'm more of a director because I see things more in, I communicate visually anyways.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be a director, but I still didn't have the guts to just go full force with it. So I played around, but I think in 2012, I dropped out of my Texas Tech, which is the second school I went to. Mm-hmm. I dropped out of there and took a break, and I'm just trying to figure out what exactly do I want to do. And it was kind of a near-death car accident I had, and it was New Year's Eve 2012. I almost got in a car accident here in Austin, and then when I survived it, I was like, all right, I'm taking my life seriously now. What do I really want to do? And I was like, I want to create. I want to just I want to make something out of myself. And I chose to take directing seriously. And the first thing the first job I was able to get, because it's really hard to break in when you have no experience at all. I got on a set called A Mama's Own here in Austin, and I started as a script supervisor.
Wow.
And so that was my way in.
That was a wake-up call. Literally.
It was. I mean, I previously had a bad habit of just always being on my phone, and not that I was taking selfies or anything like that, but it was the early days of smartphone where every alert and notification meant something to you. So you're I gotta check it. I gotta check this email. And that was a big wake-up call. I almost basically here in Austin, there's this one highway called I-35, and I don't remember what happened, but all I knew, I lost control and I almost drove over the bridge, and I was like, and I don't know what it was. I was thinking it was instinct. It was instinct to just swerve, and I stopped it. The impact that would have happened, Like I don't know what it was. Like it was just some kind of basic instinct that just told me like to do this one move, and it stopped the whole collision. It's crazy. I think about it.
That's insane.
It is insane.
Oh yeah. literally it was like, look, I'm gonna need you to figure out what you want to do in your life, and this is what's gonna happen for you to do it. That's a great story to tell. Literally. How did this happen? Oh yeah, I almost died. That's it. That's what happened. Yeah. That's awesome. So my next question for you is that you talked about how you started a student-run show called Topper TV. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so Topper TV, it basically was it was a student organization. There was multiple versions of it with different names. And when I came to school, I came to that St. Edward's, and through our tuition, we were paying for a what do you want to call it? Like it's like basically the satellite or whatever it's called. We're basically paying for like a network television station that nothing gets broadcast on it. And I was like, okay, this is dope. Why? Like when we don't have a film, we don't have a film department at St. Edward's University, but this is so dope that we have this access, and it's technically free of cost to like students, but it's like through our tuition, but whatever. So I gathered a couple of friends, and we started an organization, and we kind of basically the model was to model after a real production company. So you delegate who's the task of who's the producer, who's the editor, who's the talent, and all that stuff. Or like you create a writer's room. And so within the station, there's like multiple shows under it. Now that I left, there's a new name. So like every like generation, it just goes through a different new management. But under mine, it was called Topper TV.
That's so cool. I wish I had that in school, because I literally would have been like, oh yeah, you can't tell me nothing. I run my own show. Like that is so cool. Again, I might have to move to Texas just for that. I feel like I could go back to school and look like a 12-year-old and just be like, oh no, I'm really just here. Like, I love that. That is so cool. Yeah. So my next question is, you also worked with Issa Rae Productions and collaborated with NNEKA the Uber Driver and We Are film series. First of all, how did that happen? And what advice can you give women directors and filmmakers right now that, just some advice on how do you get with people like Issa Rae, and how do you kind of make those connections?
So being here in Austin, is really rare. I when I first started, it was rare to find other Black filmmakers at first. And something happened in 2015, 2016. That's when like I just started seeing especially Black women filmmakers, and they were telling interesting stories. And Fumi is the creator of NNEKA the Uber Driver, and she has a friend named Nicolette, who was also the writer, and she's a face of, she plays NNEKA. And they collaborated together, and I just approached them. Like my goal throughout, when I kept seeing all these Black women popping up, it's like, I just want to like be like of service. Whatever you're working on, I can hold a boom mic, and I don't really know how to operate a sound, but I want to just be in the presence, because it was just really exciting to see other Black filmmakers, especially Black women filmmakers. So the cool thing about those collaborations is that they also had a plan. A lot of filmmakers I was working with in Austin that weren't these ladies, it was kind of like they shot something, and it was like, okay, well, if people see it, that's cool. But what drew me to these collaborators, these ladies, was that they were very focused and determined, and they knew the path with their projects. It wasn't just something that's going to be out on the ether and somebody might find it by chance. So with Beth is the creator of We Are film series. She shot that over the summer of 2017, and within a couple of months, she found distribution with Issa Rae, and that early information was like, oh, I didn't know Issa Rae had did that for us. Did that for I didn't know that she did that for undiscovered talents. So I was like, all right, cool. I did not know that was a goal. And I knew that like I had a project in mind that I knew I can showcase on that platform. And in my production notes, Issa Rae Presents was the top of the bulletin board of like where we want to distribute it. And then it's like if we get rejected, then we had a couple other things, but it was the number one thing on our list. And
come on,
so,
full circle.
Yeah. I know, it's actually just it's amazing. It really had a lot of the things that we had, we listed came true, but it just didn't come true in the time frame that we wanted. As you see, that this project took a long time, but that's just even starting from the pre-production part. Like before production, it just took a lot of time, a lot of resources needed to get us here.
Yeah, and I think that is so awesome because I have been following Issa Rae for a very, very long time. And when I see amazing, especially women filmmakers, and I'm just like, what is it? What do you do? Like, because that is me. Like, when I first saw like Awkward Black Girl, I was like, oh, this girl's doing something amazing. And then, now with Short Film Sundays, and I'm just like, okay, who's these next people? And then when you see more Black women, it's just like, I may have to hit these people up. Like, put me in the background. I just want to be in the midst. I just want to be there because I think that is so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I get excited because, I mean, I'm Nigerian, so unfortunately, the kind of thing that was ingrained in me by my mom, sorry, I'm going to bring up some mama issues right now.
Good.
But like, but something that was ingrained in me was like, this is just something that we don't do. Like, there's no representation of, like, especially a Nigerian filmmaker. So. Yeah. Don't do it. So it's like, don't do it because you're gonna be the only one, and it's just gonna look foolish when it's gonna be 10 times harder to do it. Yeah. And so it's just a lot of things played out really well because I though that I kind of wish I was part of the 90s indie boom where studios were giving you a lot of money to make a movie. I'm actually really excited to be part of this era where there's more of us Black women filmmakers, and it doesn't seem as hard to break in now.
Yeah, especially since our phones have 4K. It's no it's no reason now. Now it's just you're being lazy. But now I think it's so much easier to just reach out and collaborate, especially right now. Everyone's at home checking emails. And it's like, yeah, I probably could message one of my favorite filmmakers and be like, hey, when this is all over, I'll get a hotel, but I just want to shadow you. I just love your work. So I think that is golden nuggets, you guys. Do that. Go message all of them. Yes. You never know if they're going to reply. And so again, that kind of segues into Who Love Bites. How did this happen?
So we get to start. Okay, so in 2014, I was in a very short-lived relationship. So I don't know. I didn't know why that relationship affected me because it was so short. It was maybe 2.5 months long. And so I wrote a script, and that draft was more about a girl who was in that relationship, fully aware the relationship was ending. Because when my relationship ended, it felt like a blindside, but I was like, I could see the cracks early, and luckily we ended at a high note, so it wasn't something I felt so super deprived and devastated by, but it hurt. It still hurt. So I wrote a script about a woman who is just trying to put the pieces together and trying to plan forth when her relationship ends. But while I was writing that, I had 3 friends who were going through a lot of pain in their relationship. And it was more of so it's toxic relationships that were very insidious, and the only way you would know that you can tell that it was toxic if you're the person, if you're looking out of it, because when you're in it, you're not seeing all the problems. And I think up to that point, I think people understood toxicity in their in a relationship is like verbal abuse, emotional abuse is very part of this insidiousness, but physical abuse and just like anything that seemed more external, I think people immediately know what that is. They can name it, but they couldn't, and my friends couldn't see or name the reason why they shouldn't be in this relationship. And just because you're lonely doesn't mean you need to be in this relationship.
Yeah.
And so I wrote something, I specifically modeled after a friend of mine, and I wrote it and showed it to her, and she immediately like gravitated to the character Kat. And I thought, okay, like something, and it didn't click that I'm basically I modeled this after her. And so it kind of made me feel determined to keep the ending the way I had it, because I think a couple of times I showed the draft to other people, and they were bummed out by the choice of the ending, where she doesn't, like, the character doesn't really take an action, I guess. And I was like, no, I don't think that's the story, because this is a real life. People really don't know how to move forward.
I think that's what I loved about it as well. And that's how I was like, I just need more. Because, you know, I don't want to spoil it, go watch it. But it was just one of those things where I was just like, did she get closure? And is it okay if she's kind of like, I'm gonna just see how it, you know, falls into place. And it's kind of the part where she breathes, and I'm just like, okay, I need more. That breath, I was like, yeah, that's something there. It's something there. It's a lot going on in that breath.
Yes.
So again, you know, with Love Bites, how is everything going for you with such amazing positivity from it so far?
I mean, it came out Sunday, and I mean, the positivity has been amazing. I think a lot of people were like, I'm so glad, I'm happy for you that you got this out, and it's actually really good. I also felt like more like I'm just happy that I feel like I proved something that I initially didn't know I needed to prove, but now I'm glad I proved it, which is basically that I can direct. Like, I knew I can do that, but I don't think people really saw that saw the potential really until this one. And what happens after is, I mean, I've gotten really good feedback from industry people, and I hope whatever happens, like, it just kind of pushes me to be able to do more stuff.
Yeah. With that, who are some directors that you want to work with in the future?
Oh man, there's so many. I really love Ari Aster right now. Ari Aster,
Yes.
the director of Hereditary and Midsommar.
Yes.
I just want to, like, I actually ran into him. He was here in Austin last summer when Midsommar was in theaters, and there was a special screening with him in attendance, and he happened to be at the coffee shop that I was, and I had already bought tickets, so I was just chilling at this coffee shop before the screening, and he shows up, and I hadn't at the time studied his face, so I wasn't sure, but something told me that was Ari Aster. So I approached him, I was like, hey, are you Ari Aster? And he's like, and he just giggles, and was like, yeah, I am. And then we just talked briefly about just how appreciative I am for a director like him to take a genre that initially I thought I didn't like. I didn't like, because growing up, the genre in horror just felt very sleazy to me. And I mean, I know there's a lot of people who love horror film. They're like diehard about it. But growing up, the horror that I was that was really popular in the early 2000s were just horrors that didn't really say anything. And it was just like, it was a cliche, like there was a naked chick, the first person to have sex are gonna die, the black person gonna die. Just every like you doesn't add anything, and here he's able to he has an interesting entry point into that genre, and I just want to pick his brain at how he's able to do that, because I'm so envious of how like, even if I don't get it initially, I just know that he layered it with a lot of stuff, and I want to work with somebody like that who's going to challenge me. And there's other filmmakers too, but he's the first one on top of my mind because he's doing something that I haven't seen before, and he's definitely surprising me.
Yeah, I'm not a big horror fan because I think they're real, but like when I kind of saw Hereditary and the beginning of them kind of being in a dollhouse and everything is controlled and every moment of that movie is controlled, I was like, oh snap. And then the mom, she's like building the little miniatures and they're moving with the miniatures, and then the ending, I was just like, I need a Hereditary 2. Like, I just need to know what's going on. And then Midsummer, even worse. I was just like, man, I can't have any friends. I don't want friends. If someone asks me to go on a trip, I'm not going at all, because it kind of, for me, it dealt with so many, it kind of reminded me of Love Bites. You know, she kind of knows that this relationship is ending, but yet she doesn't kind of want to let it go. She's already lost so much. And now, you know, at the end, she's smiling in the same way of Love Bites, where that breath. And I'm just like, okay, I get it. I see the connection.
I love that she brought that up, because I love, we shot Love Bites before Midsommar came out. And when I watched it, I was almost like, this is the movie I would have made if it was a horror film.
Yes.
And I was so excited. Like, I don't know, there was like I was grinning the whole time, because I'm like, God damn it, Ari, you were able to outsmart, like, because Love Bites is a straight drama film, but if I had been more clever, I would have made Midsommar, where I was like, you find it like entry points of a horror film. People expect the tropes of horror, but you're actually giving them a relationship drama.
Yes, a relationship drama. And, you know, obviously there's other, you know, crazy things that are in play that, you know, kind of helps them along with that. But the ending, where she kind of she has no one to find everything, even if they're crazy and insane and their ways are insane. She's like, I'm happy because they care about me and you never did. And I just remember the moment of like, her kind of choosing the one to be sacrificed, and I was like, okay, who she gonna choose? And she's like, you. And I was like, oh snap! Like, and then you just kind of see him in the bear costume, just looking because he can't move, and I'm like, this is it. This is a good movie.
My audience, I remember when that happened, the audience was like, the gasp, and I'm just like, I don't know why we gasped, because we all knew she was gonna pick him, right? I think we had her in my, because I think I said it in my head, it's like him, right? Like, I picked him for her before she said it, but still when she said it, everybody gasped. We were like, oh my God, she's going there.
Because I feel like if she didn't go there, I don't think I would have liked it. I really don't think I would have liked the movie. I'm like, oh, you should have killed him. Like, I cut like the entire time, because he was such a horrible person, and we were just like, when you gonna die? So
this ties to Love Bites, or just like the things I was trying to explore with Love Bites is, you know, there's two camps of people who think Christian deserved to die, and people who think Christian didn't deserve to die because he didn't do enough damage or do anything to deserve that. And it's a lot, I think a lot of people who, you have to have that experience, that personal history of knowing that, like the insidious toxic behavior that we're talking about, like a boyfriend who prioritized his needs. Well, yes, you should definitely prioritize yourself, but at the same time, there's a balance of, hey, I just lost my whole family. Have a little sympathy, be compassionate right now. Understand where I'm coming from when I say that I don't want you to travel to another country while I'm grieving right now. Understand that, hey, it's my birthday. Why did your friend have to remind you about my birthday? It just like,
and
there's some small things like that, like
yes.
was irking, and he's gaslighting her a lot. So people like, I don't know, like that kind of toxic behavior is not very I don't think a lot of people are trained to read that quickly, to understand why that's a bad boyfriend.
Yeah, and even with Love Bites, you know, he comes in and he's like, "Oh, I'm going out," and she's like, "With who?" And he's like, "Coworkers." And it's the kind of the same way in Midsummer, where he's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna be with the boys." And it's like, I don't know them like that. But I think, and even with kind of a little bit of Hereditary, you know, they really are just like, "Oh, we're gonna be super nice to you, but we're only nice to you because, you know, your grandma did all these things for us, and we're really trying to get to your son." Like, amazing. So, are you a fan of A24?
Love. That's my dream, is to my first project. Hopefully, I'm gonna just say it out to the world. My first project is my first feature film I want to get made. It's called Elephant, and I want it to be housed and distributed by. I want them to just like be part of my journey into a filmmaking.
I feel like they can never make a wrong movie. Like I have some lower ones on my list, but I feel like like they, like, I don't know. I know one that I'm just like, ooh.
There's a movie I haven't. There's a couple of movies I haven't seen because they just look very dull. Like, oh, that just seems too tame for A24. But there's one movie that I love. I swear to you that I loved it. It was called Hot Summer Night, and it has Timothée Chalamet. And it was the year that he blew up, but it was the early end of it. Early end. Yeah, that's the word. That's the phrase. The beginning part of his boom in 2017. And he was here at South by Southwest with this movie, and I remember like seeing. So he was part of the Q&A, but when he popped up on screen, there was like, it was that same feeling I had about Leo DiCaprio when I watching Titanic. It was like instantly like, that's a star. I don't know, like I'm just so excited about him. I hope that the world will understand who this guy is. And then also the movie, I think it's still on Amazon Prime. The movie felt like a very popcorn summer flick where it should be like easy to digest with it was basically very it should be popular with a regular moviegoer. And that movie got destroyed by critics. I was confused by it because I thought it was a stylish movie. Yes, cliche, but it was cliche in a fun way. I don't know. I fuck with it heavy, and I just remember how I felt when I first saw Timothy on screen. I was just so like, that's a star. And then then when he came on, and then when he got on stage, I was like, okay, that looks like a child. Because at the time he didn't 12. Have that. Yeah, he looks 12. So I was my mind was confused. Like, okay, that's a 12. That looks like a 12-year-old, but he's also I don't understand what's going on. And so the movie didn't do it. It didn't come out really. I think it was limited, and it went straight to VOD. And so I was like, oh man, I was like, this kid's not gonna have. No one's gonna see that. Like how talented he was. And then later that year, he had Lady Bird and Call Me by Your Name. So I was like, all right, well, people got to see the talent.
Yes, and now he's in Dune, and I'm like, all right, Timothy, all right, son, we get it. You good.
That was 3 years. That is in 3 years. This kid just like. But it can only happen to, white boys because
it really truly can. He's like the weird, attractive one where you're like, ooh, okay. Like, it's like, are you a child? I don't know. I don't want to be weird about it.
Not only is he a child, but like he's also like, he looks like a, what do they call it? Like those kind of paintings, like those Renaissance painting. And it's like, you're too pretty, but you're also like interesting looking. So I don't know how I feel about you.
That's literally what it is. And the same thing happened for me when I saw The Last Black Man of San Francisco with Jonathan Majors. And I was like...
Yes, I felt the same way. I felt the same way.
And I tell everyone, I'm like, for real, I literally tell everyone, like, don't hop on the Jonathan Majors trade if you haven't seen The Last Black Man in San Francisco. everyone's like, oh, he's so amazing. I'm like, he was great back then. He was bringing
you
only
last year.
Yes.
He was so talented. He is so talented.
So talented.
I'm so happy that he had another he had like 2 movies out by now, but like this Lovecraft have like skyrocketed his career, which is good.
Yeah, and it's such an amazing show. We do. Yeah. I don't like, for me, I kind of thought Lovecraft Country can be very much an American Horror Story for me. It can last a very long time because I feel like there's so much to go through with H.P. Lovecraft, and there's so many stories that you can tell. So I think that show is going to be just amazing. And speaking of another movie, Moonlight, I lost my mind when I saw Moonlight. I literally have the script like back there in my thing.
I have the A24 book. I have
me too. I almost cried when I got it. I was like, oh my god, it's here.
Oh, I cried. I got it the same week that there's a drive-in theater, and they chose Moonlight that week. So I have my book and I saw it.
Oh no, you broke up.
Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yep, you're good.
Oh, I was saying how the book arrived the same week as. No, actually, never mind. No, not the same week. I lied because I bought the book last year, so never mind. But like I was like saying that I think I just started reading the book the same week that in Austin there was a drive-in theater and they chose to screen Moonlight that week, and it's been I think a year and a half since I've last seen it, and so it felt really fresh. So when I watched it, I cried like a baby. Like every word and was like triggering. like you just had like all these senses like that I haven't had to experience for a while. Like I just love that movie.
I do. I hope that A24, does screenplays of Midsummer. I know they did Hereditary, but they should do Midsummer. I feel like the book would just look cute.
Oh, I'm so excited for that. Yes, they of course they will. Like that's I feel like Midsommar just hit a cultural zeitgeist, and it happened after the fact. Like it didn't happen while like it was going through its theatrical run. So I think a lot of people just was like let down immediately. I wasn't, because I actually loved it more than I did Hereditary. So I think I remember last year when people were like kind of like let down, and there was a couple of like YouTube reviewers that I love, and they watched it and they were like let down because they wanted a Hereditary. and they were just so stuck on like the inciting incidents where like with her parents, they're like, why didn't they bring that up? And I'm like, that's not the movie. Hold up. Like
it's truly not.
It's not the movie. So, but anyways, after the fact now, like I've seen Midsommar everywhere. Everyone has the flower crown. Everyone's talking about the main queen. And so it took a while for it to hit, but people are fucking with it. So I definitely think A24 is going to have a book out for it.
I hope so, because I'll buy it.
And I want one for Uncut Gem. Like I'm waiting for Uncut Gems, Midsommar, and I'm gonna go buy what's it called? Es Machina, and then I'll be able to be complete with my A24 screen book.
Oh no, because I was like, it's $60, Lord. That's a
Oh,
lot.
I know. I wait for a special occasion. I'm glad that they don't run out though, because you know how they sell out everything. So it's like I'm glad they don't run out this one.
Also, A24, if you listening, we fighting on this whole. I had you know how long it took me to get a red shirt? Months. I still have it. I have it now, and I was just like, I don't even want to wear this outside because I just don't want to mess it up. Like, it's such a good shirt. But getting down to our last questions, what have been some movies right now that have inspired your work?
Okay. Well, all right. So, movies right now that are inspiring me. Okay, so I'm currently working on this project called Elephants, and it's a dark comedy. And I am inspired by Parasite's way of. Okay, so one thing I really like, I think as a writer that I try to just cut to the chase. I don't all the fillers don't really pertain to me, like interest me anymore. Like I think when I was younger, I had the span to like really commit to adding some fluffery and just making it more poetic. But no, it's more like this is what you need to know as an audience, and it's just gonna pace really well. And that's more my editor's brain coming in right now. So the way the pacing and the flow of Parasite has really inspired me with this new project that I'm working on. But actually, I haven't really. There's not a lot of film right now that I'm really taking from. Instead, actually, I've been going back to my like kids cartoons from the 90s, like Nickelodeon 90s cartoons. I've been going back to that because I think I remember how daring a lot of those contents were, and they didn't have to be too explicit. And so going back watching Hey Arnold, Rugrats,
Yes.
the show Doug, and also there's another, it's non-cartoon, it's a non-animation, but it's the Wonder Years. I was revisiting that, and it just like, I just love the way they were able to speak to kids without dumbing it down.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I feel like kids of this new generation will never want to be able to experience that. Like, what is it like to have a content that is actually speaking to you, like as a human, and not like with baby voice and like dumbing, like think you're really stupid.
It's so funny. I was actually looking up like the old shows. This is insane. Like literally, I was just like ranking all the old Nickelodeon cartoon shows like in my bed at 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
And when you talked about Hey Arnold, I thought about like As Told by Ginger. I lived my life through that show.
Me too.
And I was like, this is how it is. People really do be ugly, and then they be like, boom. And I was like, before I got into like Sister, I had As Told by Ginger. And even with the movie, I was just like, oh, they got together. My life is complete. I don't care. And then Doug was like one of my favorite shows. He was this kind of awkward, quirky person. And I was like, this is me. I love it. But yeah, I think that is so cool. Like kids will not get that at all. They're not going to ever get As Told by Ginger, ever.
Because a lot of parents now are, I don't know. I actually don't know. I was going to make a generalization, but I was like, I'm not a parent, so I don't know. But I feel like a lot of parents really don't want their kids to grow up in a way. Like, it's because I feel like the content I was receiving at that age, I didn't understand it. So trust that your kids are not going to immediately get it, but they're going to appreciate it way more than they do these cartoons that just like speak to them in baby voice and just.
No, they are,
yeah.
I mean, next to Classified School Survival Guide got me through school.
Right.
And I was like, where is it now? You know, like, please.
And it's so late, and like when you're like, more so like what I love about these shows that we watch as a kid is like they're actually more so for adults, or more so when you become an adult. Because when I watch Hey Arnold now, I am like, whoa, I didn't catch any of the stuff they're
it's
referencing.
So funny.
Yeah, but I'm so happy they still have the balls or the courage to talk about this.
They do, yeah. One thing is watching old like SpongeBob episodes and watching the ones that are now. Like my favorite episode of SpongeBob is the one where they were like cursing and he was just like, "Hey Patrick, how the hell are ya?" And I was like, this is so funny as an adult. Like I was crying and I'm like, man, and no one stopped me. Like no one ever stopped me from watching this. And they just thought it was funny as well. And I'm like, kids will never understand the humor in these shows. And now that I'm an adult, I'm like, wow, they said that? That's insane.
No, I love it. It's like, I think when I remember where I was when that episode dropped. And like, to me as a kid, it didn't ring to me as they're cursing. It was just like, this is a word that is being, I guess, bleeped out, censored, but it didn't, like, trust that your kids are gonna still have fun and don't, I don't know. I just like, I'm just bummed out because I used to nanny. And so like I had to, so when I nanny kids and we have our like a downtime to like watch TV and then the shows that they pick, and I'm just like, this is not saying anything. These are shows that don't say any really like anything meaningful about life. They just tell you about what you should do, like educate you in a way, but like you don't really learn like the nuances of what it's like to grow up. And it just like makes me sad because they're not gonna experience how I felt.
They're not,
as
which is
that
why
weird
like when I have a
kid.
kid, yeah, like for me it's like when I have a kid, you're growing up on Totally Spies. I think it's a girl. You're gonna learn how to fight by Totally Spies, okay? Like you are gonna watch the Backyardigans. You are gonna really just get your life with man, what are some like other old shows like Codename Kids Next Door? I assume that's how I wanted my childhood to be, but you know, here we are, adults. So it didn't work out well.
I think basically it's up to us, this generation of filmmakers, just to like go back to that. Like we have a pitch to Nickelodeons and Cartoon Network, and just like we need these content back for these kids. We need to treat them like, I mean, obviously respect that they're children, but also like respect their minds.
Yeah. That is, we just went on a whole tangent, and that was awesome.
Like we went on an A24 tangent, and now
To be honest, I could talk about A24 all day, but again, we're gonna get back to it. So my last question for you is, what advice can you give kind of the younger generation that is starting to get into filmmaking, especially during this time of where uncertainty, where we kind of don't know if the industry is gonna open back up, or people are kind of looking for people. What advice can you give to young Black filmmakers right now?
Well, I definitely think the industry's gonna open up, because I mean the first thing that people did during a pandemic was find their favorite TV show or movie to like comfort them. So there's always gonna be a supply and demand for media, TV, which is TV and movies or any other forms of entertainment. I think the thing that scares me, because I am more passionate for film, and I worry that people will lose the reverence for theater, because I really truly believe in the theatrical experience. Because some movies I just can't see at home. I mean most movies I just can't. Even like the most simple, like Love Bites. Love Bites is like a movie you probably can't watch it. People will market it as like, oh, you can watch it at home, but like I think it's a theatrical experience, a communal experience of everybody like gasping at the same time, crying at the same time, just feeling emotions at the same time. And I have a huge reverence for the theatrical experience. So that's the one thing that makes me scared. But so back to advice. The advice that I would give to anybody, well, if you're a director, write. If you're a writer, learn how to direct. It's helpful. I think nowadays I don't think you can do just one thing. You got to learn multiple things. And especially in this, one thing I used to be jealous about our musicians is because one thing I was jealous about about musicians is that they are able to just hop on like on a live stream and just like play. They don't really need all the bells and whistles of being a musician. So now, and when I first was starting out, like as a director, I needed to like get a crew together just to make something. But now you can have a skeleton crew, which is basically like one or two or three people, and you're expected to know, like now that we're in the stage of like still like we're indie filmmakers, you're expected to have multiple skills. So don't broaden your skill and do more than just one thing. That's one thing I would say. The second thing I would say is start early. Start as early as possible, and also see and discover other avenues. Because I think a lot of people start off feeling, oh, I want to be an actor, so I'm going to do be an actor. But it turns out maybe you like to work with props. People forget there's other things outside of directing. I knew I was a good director. I mean, I knew I wanted to direct because I really do communicate in visuals, and and I mean, there was other places I could have been a DP, but I didn't have the the bandwidth to like really care about the technical parts about it. So luckily I have a friend who just knows how to like translate everything I want into the camera. But that's where I would say like start early and have multiple skills. And I definitely encourage directors for sure to learn how to edit as well.
Mm-hmm.
It saves you money, and it like also helps with the way you tell stories, because you learn like on the set, like you don't need this conversation that you spend probably five minutes plotting, and you're like, it's not gonna matter in the overall scheme of the story.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love this conversation because I feel like a lot of people aren't super into A24. They're like, what is that? And I'm just like, another person that gets it. Another person that gets it.
Oh no, I'm gonna be bummed if something fucked up come up with, like, you know, it was growing up, it was a Weinstein company.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to work at the Weinstein company because they're the one who championed like independent filmmakers and independent films, and they brought them into a larger stage. Basically, brought art house film to the mainstream, and I was really thrilled about that. And then fucking Harvey Weinstein and his brother are like jackasses. So not pedophiles, maybe pedophiles.
We don't know.
But we don't know. We just know they're fucking assholes and they ruin the industry. Yeah. So I hope the fucking A24 guys, because they're all men, which is like that also bummed me. I was like, oh, it's all men. Just hopefully that they're doing good with their power and keeping this sustainable, because they're the only outlet right now. Besides maybe Neon is a good distribution company.
Yeah.
But right now, like A24 has distinctively made a like genre of like films right now, indie films, and I'm really excited to, if I could ever be a part of that world. I just know that I've arrived as a filmmaker.
Yeah. For me, I feel kind of the same way. For me, I arrived as an actress if I can get on an A24 movie. Like, I really feel like, because I just, depending on who is directing it, like, I know it's just going to be amazing. Like, I trust them completely. If you cast me in a movie and it gets distributed to A24, I know for a fact that I can trust you for the rest of my life, because they don't just pick up anyone. I mean, I don't know. Some of them make some of them.
And you know that their marketing is amazing. Like, I really appreciate the way they market. I was like, because a lot of other films are just kind of like it's like they slap a paint over and they're like, here's my movie poster. With A24, there's just something more into it. I can talk about how much I love them all day.
Yes, exactly. So, Chinwe, thank you so much for being a stand for A24. That's all. Anyway, no. Thank you so much for being on the show today. Thank you for being an awesome filmmaker and inspiring so many young women right now, and inspiring even an older generation of people who are like, maybe I'm looking for someone that looks like me, and I found that in you. And I think that is so awesome that you get to work with all these amazing people and amazing women, and you're collaborating with some amazing big people who are literally, for me personally, are shifting that change to making sure that we are mostly at the forefront, that we can make any genre of movie, of short film, or whatever, you know, you want to describe it as. We are here, we are awesome, and we do better. That's me. We truly root for everyone Black. And so I'm just like, I like everything that you do. I can't wait to see more from you. I hope that Love Bites turns into an entire movie, because I just want to see it. I just want to see it. Let's hope, you know, Elephant comes out soon and I get to see that. And I know I will be there. I'll go to Austin to sit in the theater for that. But yeah, again, thank you so much for being on the show today. You're amazing. If you guys haven't checked out Love Bites on Issa Rae's channel, you should check it out. or I will fight you, because if you don't, then maybe your relationship is messed up and you don't want to watch it because it's the truth. Thank you so much for being on the show today. You guys, this is The Next Up. I'm your host, Tabitha McNeil, and this is Chinwe. See you guys on the next episode. Bye.